All right, welcome in everyone to another deep dive. Today we are going to really get into a really gorgeous cat, the Balinese cat,
Yes.
often called the long-haired Siamese. And we know you guys out there listening, you really value getting right to the heart of a subject
Yeah,
quickly, efficiently, thoroughly, and so that's what we're going to do today.
absolutely.
This is your express ticket to understanding this breed.
You gave me a great resource here, this Daily Pause article. Really comprehensive look at the Balinese.
Yeah, and we're going to go way beyond just like summarizing what's in the article, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to pull out the most fun,
Yeah.
most useful, most interesting stuff. We're going to cover it all. Looks, personality, care, history,
Bye.
the whole 9 yards. So let's just jump right into it
Okay.
and just start with what first catches your eye with these cats, right? That coat, that long, silky coat.
Right.
The article really makes it clear this is the defining feature of the Balinese. It's the thing. That's why they exist, right?
Right.
But underneath all that gorgeous flowing hair, they really do share those fundamental Siamese traits.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
They're definitely related.
yeah. So let's talk about the coat a little bit more.
Yeah, let's get into the details.
Get into the details of the coat.
So we're talking medium to long, can be quite long,
Okay,
silky,
okay.
but it lies close to the body. And I think this is interesting because you might think, oh, long hair, lots of matting.
Yeah,
But it's known for resisting matting,
right, right.
which is great if you don't want to spend all your time grooming.
Yeah,
And the colors, they really follow that classic Siamese palette.
okay.
So you've got a pale base, either white or cream, and then these gorgeous darker points.
Okay.
That's that coloration on the ears, face, paws, and tail.
Yeah, I love that. I love the points.
The points are stunning. And they come in those beautiful shades of like blue, chocolate seal, and lilac.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really quite a range.
So those points extend, you said, to the tail.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about the tail. What's the
The-
tail situation?
Well, the tail is either described as plumed or rigid,
Okay.
and it always matches the color of those points on the body.
Okay. So it's like a continuation of the points.
Exactly.
Well,
It's all part of that same color pattern.
Now, one thing I found interesting in the article talking about build, you might think fluffy cat, kind of sturdy cat.
Yeah. You'd think they'd be a little bit more,
Yeah.
thick set,
Yeah. Yeah.
but these guys are described as lithe,
Okay.
delicate.
Really?
Yeah, almost like they glide when they walk.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all about that elegance.
I like that. So they're not like a big, bulky, fluffy cat.
No, they're much more refined than that.
Okay. Now, their agility, that's mentioned in the article, right?
Yes, definitely.
So those strong hind legs,
Yes.
that's not just for looks.
No, those are powerful legs.
Okay.
What do they do with them? They make them exceptional jumpers.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You might be surprised to find your Balinese perched on top of the highest bookshelf in your house.
Wow. So they're not just like, lounging around on the sofa all day.
Well, they might do some of that too,
Okay. Fair enough.
but they definitely have that athletic side.
Okay. Cool. The article talks about their head.
Yes, it's very distinctive.
Okay.
It's described as being wedge-shaped,
Okay.
and that wedge shape flows right into the lines of their ears.
Okay. So it's like a continuous line.
Exactly.
Mm.
Very sleek and elegant.
Mm-hmm.
And their ears are large and well-spaced, which contributes to that overall balanced look.
Okay. And then, of course, you got to talk about the eyes.
Oh, the eyes.
Right.
Those are something else.
I mean, come on.
Almond-shaped and that brilliant sapphire blue, they just sparkle with intelligence and mischief.
Yeah. Very striking.
Very captivating.
Okay. So we've talked about their looks.
We've covered the exterior.
So now let's get under the hood.
Let's delve into that personality.
Okay.
Because as you might expect, that Siamese heritage shines through in their temperament.
Okay.
The article makes it very clear that coat aside, their personality is very much in line with the traditional Siamese.
So for somebody who's never met a Siamese, what are we talking about here?
You're talking about a deeply devoted and loving companion. This is a cat that wants to be with you.
Okay.
They'll follow you from room to room. They'll want to be involved in everything you're doing.
Yeah, the article talks about that, right?
Oh, yeah. It emphasizes that point.
Like they follow you around, they engage you in what they call deep conversation, which we know that means they like to talk a lot.
Oh, they are vocal cats.
Okay.
And there's this great quote from Dr. Lynn Kaufman in the article. She says, if you don't want a cat that doesn't have to have the last word, don't have a Siamese, don't have a Balinese,
That's a good one.
it really sums up their communicative nature.
So if you don't like a chatty cat, maybe not the breed for you,
Maybe not.
but there is an interesting nuance here.
Hmm. Tell me more.
Okay, so they are vocal, just as vocal as Siamese,
Right.
but the article says that their tone is softer.
Oh, interesting.
So if you do like a chatty cat,
Right.
but maybe you live in an apartment,
Right. Close quarters.
close quarters, maybe this is the cat for you.
Yeah. That softer voice could be a real advantage.
Yeah, because your neighbors won't hear them meowing all night.
Exactly.
Okay. The article also talks about their intelligence.
Yes. They are very smart cats.
Okay.
They're observant and they're quick learners.
Okay.
Apparently they can be trained to do tricks.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And they enjoy playing games, so you can really have a lot of fun interacting with them.
Okay. So intelligent, loves attention, likes to play games.
Exactly. A real companion animal.
But there is a little word of caution here from Dr. Cheryl Bonk.
Oh. What does Dr. Bonk have to say?
Well, Dr. Bonk says that, that intelligence and that need for attention, it can lead to some demands.
Okay.
They need their mental stimulation.
They need to be engaged.
They need to be engaged. And if they don't feel like they're getting enough attention, the article even uses the word retribution.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So maybe some unwanted behaviors, maybe
Oh.
some extra vocalization.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's not a cat for somebody who wants a cat that's just gonna hang out in the corner and sleep all day.
No, they need an owner who's willing to put in the time and the effort to keep them entertained and engaged.
Yeah, so this is a cat who wants to be with you, wants to play, wants to be engaged.
Absolutely. A true companion.
That kind of naturally leads us to talking about their living needs.
Right, because a cat like this is going to have certain requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the article has this great phrase. They call them a vertical cat.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's very descriptive.
Yeah.
It really paints a picture.
And it makes total sense, right? Because if they're jumping, climbing, exploring, they need places to do that.
Exactly.
Right.
They need vertical space.
So what are we talking about?
Well, the article suggests investing in things like cat trees, hammocks, secure shelving.
Okay.
Give them places to climb, to perch, to observe their domain.
So like expand their territory upwards.
Exactly. Make use of that vertical space.
I like that. Yeah, because like cats, even if you have a small apartment,
Right.
if you can go vertical, suddenly you have a lot more space.
Exactly. You're thinking like a cat now.
Well, I try. Okay, so we've talked about the climbing, the verticality.
Right.
They're playful. They love attention. What about other, people in the household? Kids?
Well, the article mentions that they can be wonderful playmates for children.
Okay.
They have that playful energy. They enjoy interaction. And they generally get along well with other pets, especially if they've been socialized properly.
Yeah, okay.
But of course, as with any introductions, it's
Mm.
important to do it gradually and carefully.
Yeah. Don't just throw them all in a room together and hope for the best.
No, supervised introductions are always best.
Yeah. And what about being left alone?
Well, the article suggests they don't necessarily suffer from severe separation anxiety,
Okay.
at least not in the same way that some breeds do,
Okay.
but they can get bored.
Okay.
So providing them with plenty of toys, things to keep them mentally stimulated, that's really important.
So even if you're not home, they can still be entertained.
Exactly. And hopefully that will prevent them from getting into too much mischief.
Yeah, keep them away from the furniture.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got this active, intelligent, playful cat.
Right.
But they also, the article does say that they like to be lap cats, right?
Absolutely. They love to cuddle.
Okay.
They want to be near their humans. So it's a nice balance.
So it's like they get that burst of energy
Right.
and then they want to come snuggle.
Exactly. Play hard, cuddle hard.
I like that. Okay. Let's move on to care.
All right, let's talk about keeping these beautiful creatures healthy and happy.
All right. And one thing I know people are interested in, and the article touches on this, is the hypoallergenic question.
Right.
Because this is a long-haired cat.
It is. And that's a common concern for people with allergies.
Yeah. So what does the article say?
Well, it suggests that Balinese cats may produce lower levels of certain allergens,
Okay.
specifically FeLD1 and FeLD4,
Yeah.
compared to some other long-haired breeds.
Okay.
But, and this is a big but,
Okay.
it does not make them hypoallergenic.
Okay. So that's really important to clarify.
It is.
So lower allergens, but not no allergens.
Exactly.
So somebody with allergies, they might be okay with a Balinese, they might not.
Exactly. It really depends on the individual and the severity of their allergies.
So the best advice is probably if you're thinking about getting a Balinese and you have allergies,
Right.
spend some time with one first.
Absolutely. See how you react.
Yeah, make sure you're not going to have a sneezing fit every time you're near the cat.
Exactly. It's not worth it.
Okay, good advice. Grooming. Now, they have a long coat.
They do.
Seems like it would be a lot of work.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But the article suggests it's actually relatively manageable.
Okay.
They don't have a dense undercoat, so you're not dealing with a lot of mats and tangles.
Okay.
Regular brushing, just to prevent any surface snarls, that's usually sufficient.
Okay, so it's more about maintenance than deep cleaning.
Exactly. Keep it smooth and silky.
Okay. And then, the article mentions the usual stuff, right? Like ear cleaning, nail trimming.
Oh, absolutely. Those are essential for all cats, not just Balinese.
Right. Keep those ears clean. Keep those nails trimmed.
Exactly. Basic hygiene.
But it sounds like, the real key to caring for a Balinese, it all comes back to that attention and affection.
Yes, that's really their primary need.
Okay.
And there's another great quote in the article from Dr. Bonk. She says, "This is not a cat that is going to quietly go about their business. They will want to be involved in everything you do.
I love that. So this is a cat who wants to be your best friend.
They want to be your partner in crime, your shadow, your confidant.
Okay. So you got to be ready for that.
You have to be prepared to share your life with them."
Okay. Let's talk about health.
All right, let's get into some of the things to be aware of.
Always good to know, right?
Absolutely. Knowledge is power.
Yeah. So the article mentions lifespan, and it's good news.
It is good news. They have a relatively long lifespan,
Okay.
often 15 to 20 years.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's a good long time to enjoy their company.
Yeah, that's a lot of years of fun and companionship.
Exactly.
Okay. But, every breed has its potential issues.
Right.
And the article points out that they can be predisposed to some of the same health conditions as Siamese cats.
Right. That shared genetic heritage does mean there's some overlap.
Okay.
So let's talk about some specifics.
Okay.
Eye issues are something to be aware of.
Okay.
Progressive retinal atrophy, or PRA, that's one potential problem.
And that's where their vision deteriorates over time, right?
Yes, it's a degenerative disease.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it can lead to blindness.
Okay.
So if you have a Balinese, it's something to be mindful of, making sure their environment is safe,
Right.
especially as they get older.
Yeah. Maybe no stairs or make sure there's no obstacles they could trip over.
Exactly.
Okay. What else?
They can also be prone to being cross-eyed.
Okay.
Yep.
Similar to Siamese.
Yes, it's a trait that's sometimes seen in both breeds.
Okay. The article also talks about heart issues.
Yes, heart problems are another concern.
Okay.
Dilated cardiomyopathy is one that's mentioned.
And that's where the heart muscle becomes enlarged, right?
And weakened.
Okay.
So it can't pump blood as efficiently.
Okay. But the article also says that there's a lower risk for HCM.
Yes, that's interesting. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, that's more common in some other breeds.
Okay.
But Balinese cats seem to have a lower risk.
Okay, that's good to know.
It is.
Any other health concerns that we should be aware of?
Well, the article mentions an increased risk for liver amyloidosis.
Okay. Now that one's not as familiar. What is that?
It's a serious condition.
Okay.
Abnormal protein deposits build up in the liver,
Okay.
and it can lead to liver failure.
Okay, so that's something to definitely be aware of.
It is. And finally, respiratory problems are something to keep an eye out for, particularly asthma.
Okay.
So any signs of breathing difficulty,
Yeah.
get them to the vet right away.
Good advice. Okay, so we've covered the looks, we've covered the personality, we've covered the care.
We've ticked a lot of boxes.
We've ticked a lot of boxes. Now let's delve into their history.
All right, let's uncover the origins of this fascinating breed.
Because it's interesting, right? It's much like their appearance.
Right.
It's a little bit of a winding road to get to where they are today.
It is. It's not a straightforward story.
Okay, so set the stage for us.
All right. So long-haired Siamese kittens,
Okay.
they've been popping up in litters
Yeah.
sporadically
Okay.
since at least the early 19th century.
Okay.
So they've been around for a while.
But they weren't like a recognized breed back then.
Not at all.
So what were they considered?
Well, the article suggests that they were often seen as undesirable.
Really?
Yeah, they were thought to be the result of a recessive gene,
Oh.
like something had gone wrong.
Okay.
So these long-haired kittens, they were typically neutered and just given away as pets.
Okay, so no breeding, no trying to make more of them.
No, they were just seen as, a happy accident.
It's so interesting how things change, right?
It is. Perceptions evolve.
So when did that start to change?
Well, by the early 20th century, some breeders started to see the beauty in these long-haired cats.
Okay.
They started to appreciate their unique look and their elegant movements.
Okay.
And they even started to showcase them.
Okay.
So that was a big shift,
Yeah.
from being undesirable to being worthy of attention.
Wow.
And in 1928, the American Cat Fanciers Association, the CFA, they actually registered them as long-haired Siamese.
Okay, so that's a step toward recognition.
It is. It's acknowledging that there's something distinct.
Okay, but they're still considered a variety of Siamese at that point.
Right, they're not their own breed yet.
Okay.
That comes later.
Okay, so when does that happen?
Well, the real push for separate breed status happens in the 1950s.
Okay.
And there's a woman named Helen Smith, a Balinese breeder, who really championed their cause.
Okay.
And she's credited with giving them the name Balinese.
Oh, okay, so that's where the name comes from.
Exactly.
Okay. And then finally, in 1970, they get full championship recognition from the CFA.
Yes, they finally become their own breed, officially recognized.
That's a long road.
It is. It's a journey from being unwanted to being celebrated.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we know that story,
Right.
let's talk about some of the fun facts that come out of that.
All right, let's dive into some trivia.
First of all, the name, Balinese.
Yes, that's a great place to start.
It's a beautiful name.
It is.
But why? Why Balinese?
Well, the article explains that it was chosen for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
First, to differentiate them from the Siamese.
Okay. Makes
That
sense.
needed their own identity.
Yeah.
And second, because their graceful movements and that flowing, silky coat.
Right.
It reminded people of the elegant dancers of Bali.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
So it's like, it's about their look and their movement.
Exactly. It's capturing their essence.
That's very poetic.
It is. It's a fitting name.
Okay. What other fun facts do we have?
Well, another interesting point the article makes is that they're still considered a relatively rare breed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not as common as some other breeds.
So if you see one, it's kind of special.
It is. You might want to stop and admire it.
Yeah. And the article also talks about the breeding program.
Yes, and this is important for maintaining the breed's characteristics.
Okay.
Historically, only registered purebred Siamese cats were allowed to be used in breeding programs.
Okay.
So they were very strict about preserving the bloodline.
So that's how they kept that consistency, that look.
Exactly. They wanted to make sure the Balinese remained true to its origins.
Okay, so to wrap it all up, the Balinese cat, it's a really captivating breed, right?
Absolutely.
You've got that Siamese personality,
Right.
intelligence, strong bonds, playful energy, and of course the talking.
Oh, yeah, the vocalizations.
And all of that is wrapped up in this gorgeous long-haired package.
Exactly. It's the best of both worlds.
And hopefully, for you guys listening out there, this has provided some real aha moments.
Some new insights.
Yeah, some new insights. Because I think the most striking thing
Yeah.
to me reading this article was how this beautiful long-haired cat,
Right.
it was once seen as like an accident,
Yeah, an unwanted variation.
an unwanted variation.
Sure.
But now it's embraced.
It's celebrated.
It's a recognized breed.
It has its own unique charm.
And it's admired.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a testament to how perceptions can change.
Yeah. And it kind of makes you think, right? Like all it took was a little genetic variation.
Right.
And suddenly you have this whole new wonderful breed of cat.
Exactly. It makes you wonder what other hidden gems are out there.
Yeah. And that's our final thought for you.
Oh, I like this.
Think about, how these small variations, these little genetic quirks,
Right.
they can lead to these amazing new appreciated characteristics.
It's the beauty of diversity.
It is. And it makes you think about, the role of variation in the animal kingdom, in the world.
It's the engine of evolution.
It is. And maybe this will inspire you to go out and learn more about other cat breeds or, delve into the genetics of coat length in felines.
There's a whole world of fascinating information out there.
There is. So keep exploring, and thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun. We'll see you next time.
See you then.